So talk about going from Kentucky governor races to the Trump campaign. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, so I got my start doing what they call like field work, right? Those are the guys that gin up phone calls and door knocks and stuff like that. And I think we made more phone calls, like voter contacts, for this guy. We ran him in a primary in Georgia. His name was Dr. Bob Johnson. Now, you think the branding is just challenges alone with a guy named Bob Johnson is like insane. You're not going to vote for that guy. He doesn't have a sexy enough name.
What was his name?
Bob.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
It's the most forgettable name in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And we went up against this guy who is on Savannah, Georgia once. It's an entire coast of Georgia. This legacy money dude. We took him to a runoff, and then from there I went and I did races in Iowa, Louisiana, and then I went and worked at this ad firm where one of our clients was Ted Cruz. And at the time, Ted Cruz was running for president. We kind of did all this stuff around his announcement. And we got involved with the Trump guys. We wrote this really pretty vicious TV ad that aired kind of across the country, perhaps taking some things that 45 said out of context, and we really give them some heartburn in the home stretch. So when Ted drops out, our office gets a phone call, and it's basically it's Trump, it's them, and they're like, "Who wrote that?" Kind of looking around the room, like, "Oh, like what do we do here?" We said, "Well, we did, sir." And he says, "Good, like you work for us. Like report to Trump Tower next week." And so like we
Trump
went up.
Tower. Report to Trump Tower.
Yeah, we went up there and I did the whole thing up in New York.
So you got in right when the general was happening? So like Trump won the primary.
Yeah, right around.
You guys.
It was right before the RNC. I guess it would have been in 2015.
Okay.
So we went up to Cleveland for that, and that was a whole mess. But it was a hell of a ride, and you learn more working for him than you probably would working for any other political candidate in history. And we had a small. I was telling you guys before, we had a small team. Like,
yeah, this is unbelievable.
Tight.
Tell them how many people were on the whole entire 2016 team.
Well, I think like up in our in our shop in the tower, there were maybe only 15, 20 people tops.
Wow.
And that, obviously doesn't take into account anyone like in the States, but the guys like in HQ, there were only about 20 folks. And then you compare that to 2020, I don't have enough hands to count how many people they'd hired, and we still had issues kind of in the home stretch.
Yeah.
Why'd they make that change if the success formula in 2016 was to have a smaller group?
I think, and like rightfully so, like you would think this in any business, right? Like if you did X amount with, that small of people and then you multiply it, you would think, traditionally your efforts would be greatly enhanced, right? But in politics, especially working for Trump, that's just not how it works. Like the more people you have in the building kind of control or spin or massage whatever narratives you have going out the door, the worse off they tend to be, because that guy, he's got the most sharpest marketing mind and gut that I think we've ever seen in history.
Trump?
Yeah. He does it all himself, man. I mean, like,
so he's very involved in the marketing side of things.
No one is coming up and telling him, like, pitching him name ideas, right? Like, no one's like, "Hey, man, you know what you should do? You should call Ron DeSantis DeSanctimonious." Like, he's coming up with that, man. He's smart like that. He knows what's gonna stick. Like, I have to admit, like, I shrugged my head at that one. Like, come on, there's no way that's gonna work.
Oh, Mini Mike, was it?
Lil Marco?
Lil Marco.
There was Lion Ted. That was my favorite
What
one.
was the Bloomberg one? What do you call him?
Oh shoot, I don't remember.
I think it was Mini
I
Mike.
don't even know if Bloomberg was
think it
relevant
was
enough to
Mini
get a nickname.
Right.
No, he
And
gave
then
him one. I remember
Small
it.
Hands, and then Jeb Bush, like
Small.
Sleepy Jeb or something.
Yeah,
No, it's Sleepy Joe.
Low
Sleepy
energy,
Joe.
low
Low
energy
energy
Jeb.
Jeb.
Yeah.
Very small.
The please clap. That's so good. No, like that was him going up against Jeb. Those were some of my favorites. That's when you knew, like, oh, like he's not taking prisoners, because he was basically just like crapped on the entire Bush family. And I will never forget. It was a debate in South Carolina. He crapped on the entire Bush family. He's like, "Maybe your mom should be running." That was like the retort he had. He's like, "My mom would say this." He's like, "Maybe she should be running for president." And like, it was just the doors were like blowing off from there. Like, you never go after someone's mom, and he did it, and everyone like stood up and clapped. Like, it was incredible.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this short clip, check out the full interview here. And if you want to see more clips from this episode, check it out right here.